Just kidding. It's me. What's going on, everybody? I just hit over 50 subscribers last night. And I just want to say thank you so much for this. I know 50 doesn't seem like a lot, but I'm just stoked on it. And I just want to thank you guys, my fans, for subscribing and staying with me. I've been doing this for a little over a year now. Had a little hiccup though, and I recently started doing videos again this year. And I just want to say thank you guys for sticking with me and not like abandoning me. You guys really wanted this, so I'm sticking to it because I like doing it for you guys, and the feedback I get is amazing. Anyways, I wanted to do a little special video. I've been talking to my buddy Rick, who recently started doing a podcast called Podcast Massacre. The link will be in the description below. Check it out. It's really cool. They got 3 up now, and they got more on the way, and it's just an awesome podcast. But they recently did their top 10 horror movies of the 80s, but I'm not doing a top 10 movie just of the 80s. I'm doing my top 10 horror movies overall, and this is my list. So don't get mad if one of your favorites isn't on it. Anyways, let's get to it. Coming in at number 10 on my list is Drew Goddard's Cabin in the Woods. Just when you thought horror movies were so bland and boring and generic, this masterpiece comes out and changed the game. It's aware that it's a generic horror movie, but they add to it. They turn it into a game. The first half is just basic cabin in the woods, horror movie, kill the teenagers one by one. The characters are all stereotypes, but they're really not. They're actually all smart kids. They just use like hormones and all these other different types of sprays to make them the generic dumb horror movie cliche idiot characters. And the whole third act of the movie just goes from being like a horror movie to just some crazy action filled movie where it's just gore and violence and just non-stop death, and it's just awesome. I love this movie. If you guys haven't watched it, you should check it out, because the twist, which I just gave away, you don't really see it coming, but now you will, and I apologize, but trust me, it's a good movie. You should check it out. Coming in at number 9 is Neil Marshall's Dog Soldiers. This movie came out 2002, I believe. It's about right around the time I saw it, actually. I believe it was on Sci-Fi, when Sci-Fi still showed decent movies and not just their crap that they come out with, Sharknado 7, the Sharknadoing, or whatever the hell they're on now. It's another movie that pokes fun at itself. The werewolves, I love them. They're cool looking, they're spooky, they're scary. It's a movie that's about a group of I believe they're British SAS soldiers out in training, or they're just regular British soldiers, and they come across a general, not a general, maybe a lieutenant or something, I can't remember, and his whole squad has been wiped out, and he tells them that they're next, basically, and they should just, pray for the best or whatever. And they grab all the other dead soldiers' gear, and it's basically a big shootout between this group of soldiers and these insane killing machine werewolves. It's a rad movie. It's got over the top cheesy gore. The story's sick. It's sweet. It's so cool. I love that movie. It's probably my favorite werewolf movie. I'm not gonna lie. You guys should probably check it out if you haven't seen it yet. Coming in at number 8 is Adam Green's Hatchet. Just when you thought the slasher genre was pretty boring and dull and they rebooted everything, Adam Green comes along and comes up with a pretty good original story for a slasher movie. It's about this mutated mutant man boy thing named Victor Crowley, and he haunts this swamp. And anybody who goes onto the swamp is basically screwed. His ghost comes out and he's gonna just kill you. The deaths in these movies are so awesome. They're so ridiculously violent and gory, and it's just such an awesome gore movie, gore porn, gore, whatever you want to call it. The story's not bad either. It's definitely got comedy to it too. It has 2 sequels. The second one's probably my least favorite, but it's still enjoyable. Three is pretty good too. But number 1 is definitely worth checking out. If you haven't seen it yet, you should definitely watch it if you're into like the slasher genre and just ridiculous over-the-top gore. Number 7, Joe Dante's The Burbs. The first time I watched this movie was actually in 7th grade at my school. I took this cool film class. I was taught by this really awesome hippie teacher guy. He was so down to earth and he was just so awesome. The Burbs, starring Tom Hanks. It's a dark comedy. It's about a cul-de-sac. Yeah, I think they're in a cul-de-sac. But anyways, it's about these neighbors. They get these new neighbors, and there's something off about them. They seem super suspicious and freaky, and Tom Hanks' character like starts doing some like illegal stuff, like breaking into their house and just trying to find any evidence to prove that they are killers and that they think they killed the people who lived in the house before them. And it's just such an awesome movie. It's got a great cast. If you've never seen it, you should watch it. I believe Netflix put it back up. It's on Netflix. You should check it out. It's definitely awesome. Number 6, Stanley Kubrick's The Shining. I was late on this movie. I just watched it for the first time a few years ago, and it became like one of my favorites. It is such a twisted, claustrophobic, psychological mindfuck of a movie. There's so much like to it, you know. There's so much like hidden messages, and just it's such a mind. Jack Nicholson, dude, I feel like Jack Nicholson actually probably went insane while filming this movie. It's a long one, but it's definitely worth checking out if you haven't seen it. Number 5, Friday the 13th. I had to pick the whole franchise because I can't just pick like one movie because I have 2 that I love more than all the others. Part 3 and Part 6. Part 3 because this is the first time we see Jason with the hockey mask, his iconic hockey mask, you know. But and that's just the Jason that we're used to now. And then Part 6 because it's the first time we see Jason as slow zombie Jason who's always going to get you no matter what. And Jason just in Part 6 is so violent. He just doesn't care. He's like, man, these kids are still at my lake. It's time to just go to town and murder everybody. Plus it has one of the most iconic lines in the Friday the 13th movies history ever. It's gonna be a hairy turn. Coming in at number 4, Sam Raimi's The Evil Dead. This movie was meant to be like serious, and it's so bad that it's so good. It's so ridiculous. It's got some really messed up scenes, like the tree vine scene. Yeah, you guys know what I'm talking about if you've seen the movie. It's just so twisted, and even though it's like a bad horror movie, it's so good, and it still has some pretty good jump scare scenes, and Bruce Campbell is just like the best B movie star in existence, and if you've never seen The Evil Dead, you should probably check it out. Coming in at number 3, James Cameron's The Terminator. Okay, now I know a lot of you are going, that's not a horror movie. Think about it. An unstoppable killing machine from the future comes back in time wanting to murder you, and he will kill anyone in his way to get to you before his mission's complete. You cannot turn your back. You cannot let your guard down. You're alert and aware 24/7, and the person that gets sent back in time to save you is some creepy guy who falls in love with you because he sees a picture of you from the future. Yeah, just think about that for a second. It's probably my favorite sci-fi like slasher movie. And I mean the police station scene alone, you know. It's just insane, and just the way that Arnold just stalks Sarah Connor, not Arnold, the T-800 stalks Sarah Connor and can get to her no matter what. It's, you know, this movie is just such a thrill ride, and people need to like look at it from that point of view the next time they watch it, and if you agree with me, then that's awesome. If not, fair enough. Coming in at number 2, Ridley Scott's Alien. This is like one of the first of its kind. This is such a gnarly sci-fi thriller. You know, you get thrown in with the Nostromo crew, and they find this planet, and they go down on it and find this crashed alien ship. And just this thing, they find a bunch of eggs on the ground, you know, you've never seen anything like that before, and one of them hatches, and the thing comes out, jumps on his face, you know, and you're just thinking, whoa, what is going on? Because at first you think this movie's just like a sci-fi exploration movie, you know, you get to know all these characters pretty well, and then they go on the planet, and this happens, and then they take him back up to the Nostromo, thing falls off his face, he wakes up, everybody thinks he's fine, and then boom, hours later, little chest burster coming out, and it's like, hey, give me an hour, I'm gonna grow and kill you all, and they get it, you know, they get hunted down one by one. It's such a freaky sci-fi movie, one of my favorites of all time, and just overall, it's just probably, in my opinion, Ridley Scott's best movie too. Number 1, John Carpenter's The Thing. This is my all-time favorite movie. It's my favorite sci-fi movie. It's my favorite horror movie. The practical effects in this movie, nothing's going to be able to top it. To this day, they still hold up so well. And it's such a bummer that movies don't use practical effects anymore. They rely on CGI because it's cheaper and people apparently like it better, which is a lie. I guarantee you that's a lie. They're just, the studios are too cheap and they don't want to put the effort and money into it. The story, it's like a damn near perfect story. There's like very minimal flaws to it, and even just trying to like figure out who's infected and who's not is so tough. You got to be like Sherlock Holmes to figure this out. It's like the first like legit like movie that Kurt Russell did as well. He did movies before, but they were all like family related movies. This was like his first go at like being like an action star, and just, you know, the whole cast is awesome. You know, Wilfred Brimley Davies, you got Keith David, you know, everybody else in the movie, and just the score, just that simple doom 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 throughout the whole movie. It's just like something so simple is so intense and just sets the mood, and the alien is just so gnarly when it mutates and takes people over. Nothing can top that movie practical effects wise, and I miss that era of movies so much, and that's why it's my number 1 movie. That was my list of my top 10 horror movies of all time. I hope you guys liked it. If you liked it, give me a thumbs up. If you didn't like it, give me a thumbs down. Let me know what your guys' favorite horror movies of all time is in the comments below, and I will see you on the next Danny Rants and Reviews.